What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. I hope the audio sounds fine. I'm not in my normal recording studio, watching my mom's house while she's on vacation. In this video today or in this pregame stream, just going to be talking about the Ravens Steelers game. So obviously, ask any questions you guys have. We'll talk about them. I'm going to add Joshua in here right now. Joshua, how you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. It's rivalry week. It's Sunday. Caleb Williams, shout out to him. He won the Heisman, DMV guy. So hey, man, I'm all right. I'm all right. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Only because it's Steelers week. I hate having to watch Tyler Huntley. I got to say that. I think everybody knows that. But it's Steelers week, so quarterback play is not as important as it normally is. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with Tyler Huntley playing in this game. I think the biggest thing is I just can't wait to watch our defense. Marcus Williams is back today.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
We got Kyle Hamilton. Huge.
Yes.
Marcus, Marlon. TOS said no Ojabo. If they're that confident in pass rushers on the team, why did they even draft him? He's hurt. I mean, this guy tore his ACL 7 months ago. He's hurt. We can't get him on the field.
I think we need to just go ahead and address it, man. Ojabo, we probably won't see Ojabo until next year, honestly.
Yeah. And that's fine. I'm still fine with that draft pick because, I mean, we loved him in the pre-draft. We were talking about taking him 14, and then he got injured. And it's like, okay. It's like trade. Basically, we traded a second-round pick last year for this year's first. Oh, yeah, it might have been Achilles. Dawson, I'm sorry. I think I said ACL. We basically traded last year's second for a first-round pick for this year because he'd be a first-round pick this year. He'd be a top 15 pick. True. And we basically were able to get him. And the benefit is he's still learning the system. He's still in the locker room. He's talking with the guys. He's building that chemistry. So next year when he plays, he's going to be really good. I have no doubt in my mind about Ojabo. But we don't need to get upset when he doesn't play because he's recovering. Maybe we'll see. If we see him, it's a benefit. Don't be like, man, we still don't have Ojabo. This team is not as good. EDC should have built a better team. It's not like there was a second-round pass rusher that we could have drafted that would just be dominating right now. At least not that I know of. There's not even a pass rusher really right now that's dominating as an edge rusher. Maybe Aiden Hutchinson, but we weren't drafting Aiden Hutchinson. He went number 2 or number 3 to the Lions. So, overall, I feel like the pass rush is going to be decent this game. And also, I feel like the pass rush has been good. We've been getting sacks. Yeah. That's also something that's kind of interesting is we have a lot of people complaining about it, but at the same time, the weakness has been the linebacker group. And, Roquan Smith is coming, and he's definitely helped fix that. Patrick Queen had a rough week last week. But that's the kind of thing we expect from him, struggling. But overall, we got great corners. We got our safeties back. This is the game that I want to see our secondary, right? Kenny Pickett's first game against the Ravens. Yeah, it could be a great linebacker on, Najee Harris and pass rushing against Kenny Pickett. Let's make him afraid to throw the ball. Let's get the picks and the big hits with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams and Marlon and Marcus Peters. Let's do that. Because I feel like that's more long-term than the Ravens pass rush because, most of these players aren't going to be here for very long. Justin Houston's our best pass rusher. There's no way Kenny Pickett's playing against Justin Houston in 3 years. Maybe he'll be playing against Adafe. He'll be playing against Ojabo. Maybe Tyus Bowser. That's about it. But in terms of the corners, he's going to be playing Marlon for a long time. He's going to be playing Kyle Hamilton. He's going to be playing Marcus Williams. Those are the guys. And Pepe's out right now. So you could say Brandon Stevens. He'll be playing against Brandon Stevens for a while. Hopefully, he'll be playing against Roquan Smith for a while, though. So, Benjamin says first game back. Breaks the single game interception record. What is these? Isn't the single game interception record 4?
I
He'd
believe.
have to get like I think it's 4. Someone on Washington, the Redskins did it most recently, and this was like 10, 15 years ago. Um, oh man, I know who it is too. I got to look it up. Was it? It wasn't Hall. Single game interception record. Oh wait, no, this is passing. I was like 8. That's yeah. D'Angelo Hall. It was Hall. Okay, it
Yeah.
was D'Angelo Hall. A
In
lot of
2010.
people have 4. Yeah, O'Neal, Willie Brown, there's 4 Hall of Famers that did it. That did 4, but maybe we could get 5. Yeah, the record's 4 right now, which is, I mean, that's insane. Maybe we get 3. I would be happy with 3.
I'll
6
definitely
picks
take
coming up.
3. Definitely take 3 and see if we can make points out of them. That's the whole thing about it. I mean, we as a Ravens defense has been known for years to, give rookie quarterbacks, hell all day, every damn day. I mean, the bad thing about it is we playing against Kenny later in the season, so everything probably has started to slow down for him. But still, this Ravens defense, we're still known to be the physical team that we are, and I definitely feel like we're not gonna make it easy for Kenny because he got NFL young boy, he got the NFL young boy with him too, and Najee Harris. So I mean, if we can definitely disrupt Kenny Pickett and keep him on his toes all game, we can see a lot of limited passes to George Pickens and Deontay Washington. And I mean, Najee Harris, he's been quiet to me. I haven't really been hearing his name being brought up in the running back conversation. I know he has his highlight moments, but correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. He hasn't been doing a lot this season.
Yeah, he's definitely been struggling. There were talks about, is he a bust now? Because he was missing holes, and I still think Najee Harris is a very good player.
Right.
The problem that I've recognized with him, I loved him coming out of Bama. I thought him going to the Steelers was a perfect pick. I thought Kenny Pickett, he could be a very good quarterback. I'm not trying to dog Kenny Pickett. That's not what I'm about to say here. I think Kenny Pickett was about the worst possible pick they could have made. Because they needed offensive line.
Get Malik Willis.
Like I feel like, the way that they needed their offensive line is bottom 3 in the NFL. Coming into the year, it was seen as bottom 3. It's like, okay, you've got a running back that's elite and you have good weapons. They could have signed Jimmy Garoppolo on a 2-year deal or something like that and been like, hey, and Jimmy Garoppolo would have been cheap. I felt like that was probably the best case scenario. They ended up going with Mitch and drafting Kenny Pickett. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But there were a lot of great offensive line talent. And Najee Harris, they started off the year and it was like, all right, they're trying to give it to Najee. And it was just, he was swallowed up every single play on the first game, like just in the backfield. And when you're a running back and that happens, over time, you are going to think every time you get the ball, okay, there's someone coming. And it starts to make you paranoid. So then there started to become plays where they would hit him on a check down, and it was against the Eagles. And there was a play where he didn't get the first down. And people were like, well, I think he could have. He has been rewired this year to think, I need to make every single person miss or I'm going to lose yards. And so what that has done is maybe sometimes when he could, hit that hole and just run with it, he tries to make the cornerback miss because he, subconsciously, like you believe like someone else is going to come in and tackle you. So that's where he's been struggling a lot today or this season. It's just been because of that offensive line, which I think was, them drafting Kenny Pickett. I have no problem with him. But like they could have addressed the offensive line a little bit more. And I know like they like him, coming out of Pitt and things like that. YPC, thanks so much for the super chat. Unfortunately, Ojabo was not playing. We're just waiting to get him back, and it's like, if he doesn't play, this year, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world because we'll get him next year. We only have 4 years on his deal, but this is someone that I am a huge fan of his game, but we can't rush him back. And this is the same thing that we did to Ronnie Stanley. Is like, Ronnie Stanley would miss weeks, and it's like, where's Ronnie Stanley? This is ridiculous. We push him. The Ravens are like, fine, we'll play Ronnie Stanley. He gets hurt, and then everyone's like, why would you rush Ronnie Stanley back like that? You're like, you can't have it both ways. Let's get him fully healthy. He hasn't played football in a long time.
A long time.
Like, hasn't played since Michigan lost to Georgia last year in the college football playoff. I want to say it was Georgia or Alabama they lost to.
And this would be the wrong week to actually activate him. If you ask me, this is rivalry week. If you were going to activate Ojabo, it should have been against a more or less competitive game or opponent that we will be facing. Not saying that it will be an easy win, but a team that's not up to the Ravens level. So I mean, with the Ravens Steelers, with this being a rivalry, Ravens versus Steelers, I don't think this will be even the best week to even activate him so he can get his feet wet. Now, if they decide to activate him next week against the Falcons, who is a team that's been struggling, by all means, do so just to get them acclimated. Slowly get them in. But if it's a next year type of thing, then let it be next year.
Yeah, and that's fine if it ends up being next year. It's just, it's sad. Obviously, we want him out on the field, but if it happens, it happens. There's nothing you can do, and that's a risk that you take when you draft him. But at the same time, risk is worth taking, in my opinion. 100 times out of 100, he was by far the best player at that spot. And I know there were some good football players there. Guys like, I think, George Pickens were available. But, I feel like the ceiling of Ojabo is much higher than that of Pickens. And, oh my gosh, Pickens is not a Harbaugh guy. Harbaugh would hate Pickens. Remember when Jordan Lasley, the hero of UCLA, we brought him in, and he was a fourth-round pick. Him and Jaleel Scott we brought in, two Ravens legends. Those were Aussie picks, though. And they came in, and he was going up against someone. Maybe it was Earl Thomas. He was going up against one of the DBs, and he scores on him, and he punts the ball into the lake. And the Ravens cut him the day after because he was showing too much emotion. He was getting too angry. He was getting too frustrated. If we have Harbaugh as our coach, that type of thing is not allowed to happen. Mike Tomlin is a very different type of cat. And he went out on record and he was like, man, I love that. I want my receivers to want the ball and demand the ball. That's the type of energy I'm looking for. Harbaugh's the exact opposite. Like, do your job. I will give you the ball when I give it to you. Mike Tomlin is like, you demand that football, and then I will give it to you.
But I will say, McConnell, there is a wide receiver that I might be looking at in this upcoming draft. I know we talk about wide receivers all the time, but hey, it even what's his name? Emmanuel Acho. He even brought up the fact that in the past 5 seasons, we can really say four starting seasons of Lamar Jackson's career, we have drafted over 7
skill position players,
skill positions,
or pass catchers. Yeah.
And I'm like, honestly, even though we may have drafted these guys between the first and third round, not all of them have panned out, and it's clearly a showed. But a guy that I see that could possibly be a sleeper pick is Shaq Davis. He's a 6'5" specimen coming out the MEAC conference, played for South Carolina State, and also before Deion's making his departure a year ago, Jackson State did play against SC State, and Shaq Davis did put up some numbers against that Jackson State defense. So that would be my late round guy, hopefully.
Yeah, and skill position. I mean, like coming out of the smaller schools and things like the HBCU programs and all that. There are so many skill position guys, and we're seeing it this year. We talked about him a ton in the draft. Tariq Woolen, UTSA.
Yeah.
And, smaller school guy, and there were questions as to, can he play at this level? And it was like, this guy's an athlete. This guy's like 6'4", runs a 4.29 or something stupid good.
A step further. Oh my gosh. Oh, you talked about him so much in the draft. He's playing for New England. And he's the punt returner. They put him on offense like a week ago.
Marcus Jones.
Yes.
Marcus Jones. I saw him catch the screen. I was like, is that Marcus Jones? And then he takes it up like 45 yards. I was like, man. We even talked about, man, we could play this guy on offense, play him on defense, play him on special teams.
Yeah.
We took his teammate. I like Pepe. We could have had both though. Marcus. I love Marcus Jones in the draft. He was a fun guy to watch.
Yeah.
And this team and the way that they're playing again. Stanford has decided their coach. Shout out to Greg Roman. He's not it. It's also not Jason Garrett, which I'm very happy about. I do not like Jason Garrett. I don't think he's a very good coach. Shout out to Troy Taylor, the Sacramento State
I saw that.
Got the job at Stanford. So excited to bring him in. Some will, unfortunately, he's going to be compared because the two worst teams in arguably college football last year of the Power 5 conference were Stanford and Colorado. And those were by far the worst teams in the Pac-12. They both brought in new head coaches. And now they're, of course, going to get compared to each other. And one of them has Dion, and the other is Troy Taylor. And I'm kind of sad because Dion's bringing in every recruit across the nation. They're all transferring over to him. And Stanford's going to get nobody. The rebuild's going to be slow. But, shout out to Dion. I'm excited to watch Colorado. I have no problem with Colorado. One of the few Pac-12 teams that I'm like, yeah, I'll root for them. If we got Jordan Addison, imagine Lamar, Mark Andrews, Jordan Addison, and Rashad Bateman.
I'm loving it. Hey, Bobby, you ready to come up to the NFL yet? I know you was at Texas A&M, but you ready? Come on.
What about Garrett Riley, the TCU OC? What if here's what we do? We hire Garrett Riley as our offensive coordinator. We draft Quentin Johnston out of TCU.
Okay.
If he was able to slide, pre-draft, he's super high. But we'll see how he goes. Maybe he gets locked up against Michigan. I have no idea. But then we get a pass heavy, offensive guru.
Yeah.
With a 6'5" wide receiver. I would
love it. Cool. I would love it.
Or we could draft Jordan Addison, I guess, because Lincoln Riley's the head coach and Garrett Riley is his brother. So go get Garrett Riley and get his brother's guy. Oh my gosh, Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson's going to be the best running back in the NFL, without a doubt in my mind. This dude, oh my, he's the best. He's the best running back prospect, I would say, since probably Christian McCaffrey. Because problem is Christian McCaffrey was seen as okay, is this guy going to work out? But at the same time, I was this guy can do everything. Bijan is unbelievable. But again, we don't need a running back. If we needed a running back, I would be saying trade for the number 1 overall pick and draft Bijan Robinson.
Now, I love the fact that you did bring that up. I love my running back guys. With Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins both, coming back from injury and they're not putting up the production, would you be willing to part ways with Gus Edwards and go for a younger power back to be paired up with J.K.?
I'm fine with that, but I don't want to draft him early. I think if a guy slides to the 4th round, if a guy slides to the 5th, or really, undrafted guys, you can get a great undrafted running back like a Gus Edwards. You don't need to draft a running back early. I don't really believe in drafting running backs really at all unless it's 3rd, 4th, 5th round and they slide. Or if I think they're a 1st-round talent, we get them in the 2nd, like we did with J.K. Dobbins. I had J.K. as the number 1 running back in that draft class over Jonathan Taylor and what's his name, DeAndre Swift. But overall, it's just there's so many good running backs. We talked about Dameon Pierce in the draft. Where's he? Now he's dominating, and it's okay, he's not the number 1 guy,
for sure.
And they play really well. And there's some good players that got drafted early. Breece Hall, he was playing well in New York. But if you have a scheme, if you have an offensive line, and most importantly, if you have Lamar Jackson, the running game should work, no matter who you have back there. Obviously, it can be better if you have a talent like a J.K. Dobbins or a young stud or something like that. And Ball So Hard, thank you so much for the super chat. Says if we're going to build our wide receiver core, Harbaugh and Rob up, Harbaugh and Roman, Harbaugh and Roman need to go. Time for a change. I agree. I think it's a time for change in philosophy. You can still be run heavy, but go for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers are a run first team. They're a run heavy team. The Green Bay Packers with Matt LaFleur are a run first team. The the Rams are a run first team, but they're not seen as that. Why? Because they're explosive in the passing game. The Ravens have the weapons, and maybe if they got one more wide receiver in the draft, and we get back Rashad Bateman, we have the weapons to go out and make plays. And I think getting a offensive mind, even from those schemes, get the OC for Kyle Shanahan because he doesn't call the plays. Kyle runs that offense, and those other two coaches, LaFleur and McVay, came from Kyle Shanahan's system. They run Kyle Shanahan's system, which is learned and developed on from Mike Shanahan, the old Denver Broncos coach, and who won multiple Super Bowls, and he coached a guy. His name was John Elway, and everyone looks at John Elway and they go, "Wow, top 5 quarterback of all time or so." But at the same time, you know what that offense was? It was run first. Give it to TD, like give it to Terrell Davis, and then John Elway and Ed McCaffrey can make plays. Shout out to Ed McCaffrey, the father of Christian McCaffrey.
Is Gary Kubiak's son or brother coaching?
I think he may be. I can't remember his name though. I think he may be. I honestly can't remember his name.
I want to say it was like Clint Kubiak or something like that. I had to look it up, but
yeah, Clint Kubiak.
Okay, great. Thanks to y'all. But he's another one that runs the same type of offense style that got us to the Super Bowl. And I feel like play action, run first. That's another thing that the Ravens do. I mean, and we can still keep Patrick Ricard because Gary Kubiak he still used the fullback. So if Clint is anything like Gary, I know you still want to use his fullback. We need real creativity. We need we don't need the Greg Romans and Matt Canadas, guys that constantly have predicted plays. It's like, yo, we're playing against this opponent. We know they have a strong defense. We know that they may have the best run defense. Why are we still trying to run the ball? Why not just spread our wide receivers out and give these guys a run for their money? Build our wide receiver core where we can create that separation, where we can also have guys. You know what? Hey, Rashad, we gonna work with you today, or Jordan Addison. You are man. We gonna call your number today. Devin Duvernay. The plays are all going through you, baby. So work out today. Like I just don't get it. It's like we constantly, try to be this. We constantly try to live in the past. It's like we're not living in the moment or rising to the true occasion of being in the present time.
Yeah, we gotta make sure that we have the personnel and the players to go out and work not just the offense or the defense that we're running, but in the era that we're playing in. I think is the other aspect to look at. And someone asked for it. It was Benjamin. He said, "Where's the crazy predictions?" We call them bold predictions, but they're typically pretty crazy. Joshua, let's go through. We got 5 minutes till this game kicks off. Let's start off on the offensive side of the ball. What are you thinking for a bold prediction or crazy prediction?
Bold prediction, crazy prediction. I got Snoop going for 250 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Ooh, okay. All right. I'm gonna say Ravens get. I'm gonna say the Ravens have no big plays, and they put up 1 touchdown offensively.
Ooh, not a struggle again. Even though we already know it's going to be a struggle.
Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. I'll go first. I'll say we get a defensive touchdown.
Pick six, scoop and score. What we looking at?
I think we talked about it all in the offseason when he got drafted. Kenny pick six, right? Kenny Pickett throws the pick to none other than Mr. 14, the 14th overall, the Notre Dame man. We've got pick six for Kyle Hamilton. And I've got the under on the over-under at 36.5, by the way, T.O.
I'm loving it, man.
What are you thinking, Joshua?
If I go defensive side, I got us going for 7 sacks today. I got Justin Houston with 2. I got actually Odafe Oweh chasing down Kenny Pickett and getting 2 of them. So that leaves me with 3. Travis Jones finally gets 1. Calais gets 1. Justin Madubuike gets 1.
I like it. Let's see. Boyd says Marlon Humphrey gets more sacks than Oweh. More is a relative term. That just means 1. I'm also going to say we get a Marcus Williams pick as well.
I definitely feel that coming.
Adam 78 combined score below 30. I think that's also probably going to happen.
Yeah, it's rivalry week.
I got the gorilla. All right. I got the gorilla taking on 100 if they're random humans. All right. If it's like NFL players or high level athletes, I got the 100 humans. But if you took 100 random people off the face of the earth and you put them against one gorilla, I think the gorilla wins.
I don't think I don't know how many people have watched Tarzan. Even though Tarzan put Kerchak in a chokehold, if Tarzan was a regular dude, Kerchak would have really whipped him up. So with that being said, I'm definitely taking Kerchak, Mighty Joe Young, whoever y'all want to call him, over or even Kong over 100 regular humans. But if we're talking about
Isaiah Likely.
He did have a little fighter. He did have a little fighter after the shoulder was, after the shoulder was banged up. So yeah.
All right, everyone. This game's about to kick off. Make sure to come back after the game. We will be doing a post-game show. So thank you all so much for coming through. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. We'll be back after the game, and hopefully the Ravens are still leading in the AFC North. And I gotta say it. But go Browns. Take down the Bengals.
I'm with you on that.
All right, everyone. See y'all after the game.